What's up, Curious Couriers? I'm your host for this episode, Quackers Co., and welcome to Boundary Break, the show where we take control of the camera in all our favorite games to find secrets, developer tactics, and oddities that have been tucked away not meant to be seen by the player. This episode covers the cult classic open-world post-apocalyptic RPG, Fallout New Vegas, and it will only cover the base game, with no DLC or mods. And even with that said, I'm hoping I can show you something in this epic game that you haven't seen before. And if that's the case, please hit the like button. So, enough with the fluff, let's get to the stuff. So if you've never played New Vegas before, the game starts off with the character waking up in Doc Mitchell's house with a bit of a head injury. A little dazed, you enter in your name and where you want your skill points to go, before the Doc leads you to his door and gives you all your items. After all the dialogue he has, the game asks you if you want to enter hardcore mode. Now if you go over here to the hallway in Doc Mitchell's house, you can see that there is a trigger item above this hallway, and this trigger item is for hardcore mode. So if you go to this item before Doc takes you to the door, you can trigger hardcore mode. It's not very useful, but it's kind of interesting that you need a doctor's note before you can do hardcore mode. The last thing to note about this note is that when you go back through Doc's door, the note item disappears forever. So just like my memory of why I was going into the kitchen, the note disappears by going through a doorway. Underneath the simulated Mojave Desert, we can see the long walls that make up the cells of the world. There's also a lot of extended geometry that goes beneath the map, which won't be seen by the player, and is a tactic used in most big games like this, to save on time for developing such a big game. The way that this game uses warp planes and blocking combined with proximity-based loading mapping makes it pretty difficult to travel under the map to find discoveries. But with some diligence, I did make a couple discoveries that were different than what I was expecting to find. The first of the weird discoveries I made was inside the Asus Theater. If you clip behind the wall that you came through, you'll find 3 unique items: a cross named Drifter, a bathtub named Bruce, and a stroller named Radpack. Obviously referencing the performers that perform on the stage inside the theater. Now what's weird is some of these items do speak to you.
What do you need? Bye. What do you need? Bye.
But yet the cross remain ominously silent. There's also a block around the other side that's named Lily's Grandkids Recordings. It's a pretty weird area, especially with the curtain hanging off the side of the stage. These things I did find in the New Vegas wiki with a little bit of research, but I didn't find any mention of the A-squares underneath the stage, which I guess are spawning points for the performers. But the most bizarre object that I found while going underneath the map was a stone textured chest underneath Novac. Doing some history on the game, you can find out that the Novac cell was the first one under development, so that makes me so curious on why this chest is here, and maybe what point it had earlier on in development. What could the contents be? It makes me so curious. The bottom of it's completely black, and there's weird blips of geometry sticking off the sides of it. I've never seen anything like it. Of course, not all discoveries are made under the map. Some sit off in the distance, just staring at us, waiting to be seen. One of the most widely used developer tactics is to use proximity-based textures and mapping. That way, when something is rendered off in the distance, it uses a model with a low polygon count and a low resolution texture, making it look okay in the distance, but the player would never be there, so it doesn't matter. If we leave our bodies behind and take control of our camera, we can get nice and close up to these low poly areas. Now, a really unique item that I found sitting off in the distance of the Boulder City inner area is a scale version of the Helios Tower. I mean, just look at it. It's a smaller version of the Helios Tower. I can't help but find this cute. And they did the same thing with the Searchlight Airport control tower at the south of the map. It's just a smaller version of the Nellis Air Force Base control tower.